All right, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Anything and Everything with D, the podcast where anything goes. I'm excited to be here today. Today, we're going to be talking about, when is the time to let people go, kind of clip them out of your life. Talking with that to me, or with me today, is my best friend, Christina. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
So, today I wanted to talk about, like I said, when is the time to let people go out of your life? And I feel
Ooh.
like if you would have asked me that same, like if we would have talked about that like 4 or 5 years ago, my answer would not be the same then like it is right now.
No, of course.
So, in your experience, because we're going to touch on a few things as far as that topic is concerned, but like in your experience now, like when do you feel like it's a good time to let somebody go? And I wanted to talk about that in the aspect of like relationships with friends
Right.
and also in like your other like relationships with significant others. So, like, when do you feel it's like that's it, like you gotta clip it?
I mean, that's definitely a hard topic. I feel like we've probably touched based on this before. I mean, there's always signs, like I feel like sometimes we don't pay attention to those signs
ignore
because,
them?
yeah. Because, like ultimately we love these people and we want to keep these relationships, for whatever reasons, whether it's, because we've known them for so long or, we have kids with these people or,
Yes.
So, I would definitely say, disrespect, like that's definitely one of the main things. And sometimes we don't realize we're being disrespected.
Yep, I agree.
So, like, let me see. What's a good... I mean, dishonesty as well. Like, some people... I'm thinking more like in a friendship sense.
Okay.
At the moment. Like, I know there's one instant when I had a friendship with a person and, like, we weren't friends for a very long time, but, like, it kind of... Like, I met her through work and, we kind of clicked off just like we did. And we were hanging out almost every day. And I don't know, we talk about this a lot as well, like codependency.
Oh,
I
yes,
felt like
yes.
that was kind of what we were both going through, which sometimes is not a bad thing, like it is what it is. But I kind of feel like, like she got into this relationship and
Oh,
like,
yeah, I remember the story.
Yeah, she got into this relationship and it was just like, I don't know, she just switched up. So I from there, like once I noticed that, I'm like, you know what, I can't be friends with this person no more. I don't like, if you're gonna be in a relationship, cool, like I'm happy for you,
Right.
but for you to change your whole personality or how
Yeah.
you act towards me in our friendship, like that's not
That's
cool.
something that
You're not
people
doing
do
that.
though. I don't know why that's like a thing that people get in a relationship and it just they change.
Yeah,
Which I
but
guess
that's whack.
I want to say that it's kind of understandable in the sense. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't
Yes, to a
change
certain degree,
certain
but like
degree, right.
don't change towards me,
Me,
like
right. Yeah, like I
I'm
understand if we're
happy for
gonna be
you, but
spending less
chill.
time. Like, bitch, I got a man now,
Right.
so I can't spend time. I can't be with you all the time. But like,
Right,
talk
right,
about
right.
it. And I think that we have had conversations as far as like people, they just don't know how to like be honest, and it's okay to talk about things that are uncomfortable. People do not
Right.
like uncomfortability. That's like a major issue. Like, let's talk about it. You gotta
Yeah.
be uncomfortable to get to the comfortable place.
But again, I think it also comes to the dishonesty thing. Like maybe there were some things
True.
that she felt about our friendship, or like like the codependency thing, or maybe like I feel like maybe she felt certain type of way about our friendship, like that she wanted to end the friendship or whatever, but she didn't know how, or like didn't know how to go about things. And to me, that's not really being a good friend. So that's why it's like, okay, time to cut. Like if you can't be honest with me, but like, listen, I'm feeling this way it's about you, or like, like I feel like whatever the situation is, if you
Right.
can't come to a moment where it's like, I need to have a conversation with this person because I care about them and I want to keep their friendship,
Right.
then it's not worth having. Like,
That's
what is
just
the
like a
point?
thing. Yeah, that's not a thing that happens. I feel like people have an issue with honesty. People, I don't know, because I feel like in having to be honest with another person, you kind of have to be honest, like really honest with yourself.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
people struggle greatly with that. So for me, like what I would say about letting people go, I feel like as soon as you're compromising my mental health in any
Right.
way, if me having you in my life is compromising me at all, I think at that point it's time to let you go.
Yeah,
Because like
right.
I said, if you would have asked me this like 4 or 5 years ago, my response probably wouldn't have been the same because I used to associate love with pain.
Right, right.
I think that's something that we all do. So I used to be like, oh, well, this person doesn't love me if they don't fucking stress me out, or, you know, if I'm not hurting, or if they act this way, like they're acting that way because they love me. No.
No, yeah, it's probably something that you might have been used to, or, you know, in the sense. But, I mean, it's hard. And it's definitely different, like, you know, when you talk about friendship and you talk about relationships. Because relationships, that's a whole
nother. Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about it. So that's why I was saying, like, I used to associate love with pain, especially in the relationship sense. Like, with friendships, I don't know. I have become really good friends with people close to them, and then they've just kind of come and gone, because I also don't chase people. Like, I feel like you can attest. I think I'm a pretty good friend. I try to be there for others as much as I need to be there for myself, because at the end of the day, we need to take care of ourselves.
Of course.
So I try to do things without compromising who I are. But some people, who I am, but some people kind of expect a lot. Some people are needy in friendships, and I get that. And then I think it would be up to us personally if we want to decide that that's like who you are. You're kind of needy, and I'll still be your friend, even though you're kind of needy. So,
but I mean, again, I feel like that comes down to the honesty as well. Like, you have, like, if you really cherish that friendship, if you really care about that person, you're gonna tell them, like, listen, you're being needy. You need to figure it out. Have that conversation, like, figure it out. Like, if that's the person you really want to keep in your life, you know what I mean? Right. If it's worth keeping, like,
I agree.
Because some people, I don't think some people realize they being needy. Some people just, you know, they codependency.
Right. So that's another thing when you said like codependency being needy, because I feel like some people just also need other people to like feel good about themselves.
No, definitely.
And then that's what
or distract themselves or whatever,
to
like
pass the time. So that was gonna bring me to my next point of like, if you're not bringing anything of value to my life, which it sounds selfish, but let's think about it in retrospect. Like, I'm at a point in my life where I am being a little selfish because I just feel more.
You have to be.
More, I can't even find the word. What's the word? I'm just a lot more conscious and aware of myself and my surroundings.
Right.
So if you, as a friend or a significant other, can't add anything of value to my life, then I honestly don't need to have you around. And I know that sounds crazy, but it is what it is. Like, if you don't encourage me, if you don't support me, if I can't do the same for you, if I don't encourage you to be a better person, if I don't encourage you to follow your dreams or just support you, why do you have me around? Exactly. What am I doing for you? It's not just material things. It's like, what are you bringing of substance into my life that is like, I love you. I want you to be a part of my life. We're going to be friends forever because like we have a good understanding of one another. People use other people.
Right.
People are needy, the codependency. So I feel like that's another good indicator of like.
I mean, I think also like when it comes down to, because now you got me thinking about like other people's relationships with friends and freaking significant others. I think trauma is a big thing, you know, when it comes to like, you know, like when you come into someone's life and they already have this trauma going on, you know, like from their childhood that they don't even realize that is just keeping them maybe, I don't want to say toxic or like that they're a toxic person, because I'm honestly a big believer in, I hate when people say, I left my relationship because it was toxic, or this person was, no, that person was toxic. No, you also have to take accountability and be like, maybe the relationship itself was
toxic. Is
accountability,
people. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. She has won the $1 million prize, you guys. Yes.
Exactly. Like, it's not just one person sometimes. Like, yes, trauma does play a big fact in a person and how they, you know, act in a relationship, which that's what I feel like, you know, sometimes why you need to let go of a person, because sometimes, you know, like we just go through things as, you know,
individuals.
When we're younger and we don't realize that we carry that shit with us into our relationships and we throw that shit onto other people. Like,
we just piling shit on top of shit. And that's why so many relationships fail and friendships. So everything that you just said is like perfect.
Right.
And the key word was the accountability. And that is so important, because if you're not taking a step back and realizing how you're contributing. So if we're just piling shit on top of shit, nothing is going to get solved.
Right.
Nothing is going to happen. It's going to stay kind of toxic. But if one person can take a step back and be like, wow, this is my stuff that I need to work through. Let me accept accountability for what I'm contributing to this. Maybe the direction of that relationship will change. Maybe the dynamic will be like, okay, the other person will follow suit. Like, it's okay.
Right.
People are afraid of, like, I'm broken. People are afraid to accept that they're broken or accept that they're going through things or that they've had trauma. And a lot of that starts with self-love. Like, I feel like self-love plays a part in everything, because if you're not right with yourself, you can't expect to have any type of relationship, romantic, friendship, whatever. Even as parents, even us as moms,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
if we were to be struggling with self-love and who we are, how would we be able to properly show our children something that we don't know anything about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So I think that's also an important indicator, because I feel like you and I are both understanding to a fault and forgiving to a fault, which you know what I mean by that.
Right.
And that's, no.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, like, with the accountability thing, I feel like, you know, when I say that, it's basically saying, like, it's not to say, like, okay, everything is my fault, you know, I need to fix myself. No, it's basically acknowledging certain things that you do or certain things that you play a part in.
Correct.
That can, you know, maybe hurt your relationship with this person, you know, and repeated cycles. Like, that's definitely another thing that
Yes.
a red flag that you just need to cut that person off.
Yes.
Like,
I think that we go through that quite a few times before we're like,
right.
enough is enough. I think we put up our tolerance is very high, and a lot of that has to do with, like, how we were brought up. And if we have not seen an example of certain things, we just don't know what certain things should look like. I don't think I was ever shown what a relationship should look like
Right. Exactly.
since I can ever remember. My mother and my father were never even together. Like, I was born into a broken relationship. I've never known what it's like to have mom and dad even in the same household.
Wow.
So that's one thing, and that shit carries with me. And even
Right.
if, like, if
And you don't
somebody-
realize it either.
no, this shit comes up later on in life. And it's like, I'm 31, and it's like, I feel like I'm in the best place I've ever been, because I've had to
Yes.
experience and go through all of these things. And I think what you said is important about, don't beat yourself up about it. Like, don't blame yourself, but
Right.
just know that you may play a contributing factor. And then it's like, okay, now that I'm aware of this, what can I do to change it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So how about for relationships? Like, when do you feel like it's time to kind of just let it go?
Like, relationships. Well, yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Like, when it comes to repeated cycles, like, when you, because I've definitely gone through that, where it's like, you know, I've tried and it's like, and not to say I've tried, we've tried, you know,
Right,
like,
right.
it's two people in a
Joint
relationship.
effort, yeah.
Right. So we've tried, you know, we've put effort, and maybe we probably haven't tried as much as we should have, you know, like, maybe we've mentioned counseling and, like, you know, tried to think of other ways to fix it, but kind of just fall short. And I don't think it's anyone's fault, really, to be honest, because, like you said, you're not told how to be in a relationship, you know. You kind of just
Figuring it out.
as you go. So it is what it is. But, you know, you don't want to be feeling trapped in a certain situation, or kind of feeling like, you know, like you're not growing as an individual. You know what I
That's
mean?
so
Like,
important,
'cause
yes.
that's kind of how I've felt in some of my past relationships, where it's like I'm pretty much just putting all my effort and, you know, into this relationship, and I'm kind of forgetting about myself.
Oh, you are,
like,
yep.
you know, and I'm pretty sure for that other person, they've kind of felt that same way. And that's definitely not what I want. Like, and that's why I say, like, I'm the type of person that I think about both sides. Like, I'm not going to sit here and put the blame all on one person. No, I'm pretty sure there's certain things I haven't done that, you know, that person would have liked me to do. But, you know, sometimes it's just not easy, you know?
It's
like,
not. It's a lot. I feel like a lot goes into it. And a lot of it, I feel like, has to do with working on yourself. And I feel like a common
Right.
denominator nowadays is that people have all their trauma. People don't know how to deal with that. And then they internalize it and they keep it there. And so when they get into a relationship, that comes out.
Right.
So a lot of relationships and marriages, I feel like, are just not successful because people are not taking that time to themselves, for themselves, to be themselves.
Right.
And then people get resentful and, we don't want the person that we love to be unhappy.
Exactly.
And I feel like I'm at a point where I try to be as understanding as I can for other individuals. Like, you might not be at a place where I am, but I want you to better yourself. So I kind of struggle sometimes with like holding on and letting go. But also, I think an issue is people don't have those conversations.
No, definitely.
I think with significant others, I think that
pick and choose what you want to say, to be honest.
Right, and that's not, when you think about a significant other, like, this is supposed to be a person that you see yourself with long term. I mean, I would like to think for that I could just fucking date. If I want to date, I will just date.
Right.
But I'm not dating to date. Like, I'm dating with a purpose. So I feel like there's a difference. But, this is supposed to be a person that you love and that you care for them. And how can I not have these conversations with you? Or how can I have them with you in a way that you're not offended? Like, I just feel like it's a shit show. Like, everything is all over the place. And I think if a person does not know how to handle their emotions and their feelings, it's very hard for them to bring to the table how they're feeling. Right. And that causes conflict. So it's like, where do we go wrong?
Exactly. I think that's definitely a big key factor, like not being able to talk in your relationship, or not being able to like openly say how you feel, or like
and fear of that's a problem. And I feel like, how do we have those conversations about not having those conversations? That makes perfect sense, I swear. if you know, you know. But because that's another thing too, and I feel like this is where I try to be understanding of men. Men were not brought up to express emotion. Men were not brought up to talk about how they feel. Men were not raised.
I know you always tell me this, and I'm like, oh,
it's
all right,
true.
D.
Because,
okay.
But this is what I'm saying. So, like, understanding to a point, because at the end of the day, they have their own mind. They can think for themselves.
Right.
So it's
I agree.
How much of how you were brought up are you going to let impact you? Like, do you want to live a different life? Are you going to change your mindset? So I think as women, we need to just be a little bit more conscious of how we talk to our men. It's not easy for a man to come and say how he feels. Right. So I feel like if we try to set the tone and make them feel like there's an environment where we're not going to criticize them, because, I mean, let's be real. Women criticize the shit out of men. You ain't shit. Fuck you, blah, blah. Whatever.
No, I agree to a certain extent, because I feel like when I do get that response, like that unexpected response, I'm just like, wow, did you just really say that? Like, you just express yourself? Like, that's kind of thrown off, so. But I don't know. Sometimes you don't get it. So yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying about the men not being able to express their feelings, and
they can. That way. I don't think they know how.
Right.
Yeah, they just don't know how, and then that's like another layer of crap on top of all the other crap. It's just hard. So then it's like, well, how long do I stay? Right. How long has been long enough? Like, do I have to keep putting up with this? Do I have to? So it's very hard for some people to decide when to let others go, because some people don't know when to let go. And I feel like I've learned until last year. Like, last year was a very big year for me. I grew like crazy. And I just learned a lot about myself. And it's like, I think that you will tolerate what you will tolerate. Everybody's different. Right. I don't think there's like, oh, if a person's doing this and this, like no, it's a personal choice, but you have to be smart enough to know like when is enough. But it's also hard for me because I really care about people.
Right.
And like, how do I let you go and just like not care, but I care about you. But like I said,
and then men too, I feel like they're not gonna show that expression once it's over. It's like, okay.
Yeah, they don't be on that type of time. They're like, well, see ya. But that's another problem though. Let me tell you what the issue with that is that women expect men to chase them. We expect the man to be like, but wait, like, in the movies when we about to walk out the door and we waiting for him to say something and he ain't gonna say nothing and we're just gonna walk out the door. Like, we have this sort of expectation, which is our fault. I have learned not to expect anything from anyone.
Exactly.
If I have given my all, if I have opened the floor for a conversation, if I have expressed how I feel, what more can I do at
There
that
you
point?
go. That's definitely a red flag right there.
If you're not right within yourself to be able to have those conversations with me, then that's actually when you got to know to clip it. Because we will tolerate that. And then the cycle will just continue. Nobody's learning.
What about cheating? Let's talk about that because
Oh,
I feel like
shit.
we didn't even touch
Okay.
on that.
All
That's
right.
like the biggest, like, because
Ooh,
I know for a
ooh.
fact, not for nothing, and I
Ooh.
probably sound stupid, but I've definitely stayed in a relationship after,
So have I.
experiencing
Everybody has. If you didn't, you're fucking
infidelity.
lying. They're lying if they tell
So
you.
forgiveness is, I don't know.
That's tough. So, okay, so let's talk about what your personal experiences have been like where you are now in your mind state. Do you feel like it would be possible for you to take back a man after he has cheated?
No, I don't think so. Like, I mean, like I said, I've been there, done that. So, and not just like in one relationship. So,
Right.
like, it comes a time where you have to fucking learn from your fucking mistakes and from, like, shit you've gone through. I'm sorry if I'm dropping so many F-bombs.
No, that's okay. This is not PG-13. It's not PG-13.
But yeah, like, that's definitely something, like, I can't, like, moving forward as a woman, like you said, in my 30s, like, this is a new chapter in my life. Like, I do not want to keep doing that. Like, that's definitely something that I feel like, in a way, like, you kind of feel like you're trying to fix a person. Or like,
yes, we can't fix
accept
people.
certain things that it's like, okay, maybe this person's gonna change, or
Yes.
like,
Yes.
I understand
Another
why
one.
you did it, or like, and I think that's like us as women, we were too, like, what's the word? We're too understanding.
Yes.
Like,
That's why I said we're
too,
forgiving to a fault. Like,
but not even that. I talk about this all the time. Like, we fucking see things past what that first layer is of a person. Like,
we're in love with the potential.
No, not only that. Like, the fact that we can break a person down, like, oh, it's because they're traumatized. Oh, it's because they're like, we think like a fucking psychiatrist.
We try to rationalize. We try to rationalize what they do. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes you just have to realize that it's just like, no, this is not what I deserve. This is not healthy for both of us. Like, if you cannot come to me and have a conversation with me with whatever the situation is that you're unhappy about in this relationship, and you feel the need to go outside of the relationship to cheat, it's not worth it.
This is why conversations are so important, because I need to understand.
Right.
I want you to talk to me and I want to listen. I need to understand. If there's something going on, I want to understand. So before I go off on my whole tangent about that, what I try to understand is, like, why do people cheat, right?
Right.
I try to understand why a man would cheat. And I have asked men. Some men say they cheat because they can, because they want to feel like they still got it. Or some men are just like, well, my woman isn't doing this, or this. I used to feel like, well, if a person is cheating, that's because they're not right within themselves and they're lacking something that they feel the need. But to be honest, I can't. Everyone is so different. I cannot speak for a person. If you cheat, you cheat. I don't know why. Right.
I mean,
so
I'm sure there's different reasons, but
there's plenty.
still.
There's like a million reasons under the sun. And so I stopped rationalizing it. It's like, you did what you did. What I had to learn as a woman was to not internalize that and say, what's wrong with me?
No.
What am I doing wrong that my man went out and did this? Because I have been cheated on more than one time. So that was another big factor of, like, well, no, it's not my fucking fault. I'm here. I'm putting my best foot forward. But that's when I learned, like, you have to have these conversations so that we can understand one another. And that's what people are not doing. As far as me taking back a man, do I think it's possible? I do. However, honestly, I'm going to say I don't know, because I haven't been in a situation up until now that I've had somebody cheat on me and I've had the option to take them back. Now, do I think that people can change? Absolutely. I'm a changed person. Just overall, I've changed my mindset. I've changed my life. Unless a man is showing me that he's, like, really, really sorry and he's doing everything in his power to try and make things better, like maybe. Like I said, I can't say yes or no because I'm not in that situation.
Right.
I would like to think I probably wouldn't. I would just be like, no, like, you know, you did what you did. You made your choice.
Yeah, but I think moving forward, in my opinion,
I'm done.
I can't do it anymore. Like,
it's hard.
Like, I think once I see that, like, infidelity, cheating, I'm done. I can't keep doing it.
It's
like,
hard because that's like a that's a traumatic experience. Let's be honest. Like,
I mean, especially when you've done it already. Like we said, like we've experienced it in multiple relationships. Like, I'm not gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
Moving forward, like I'm not. Like, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm good. Go ahead and do that. Like,
it's just it's hard. It's always hard.
And I feel like that's when you also know when the relationship is over. When it's like, you know, the person has cheated and it's just like, you're kind of not okay with it, but you're just like, okay, this is what it is. I'm moving
that's
forward.
very
I'm
common.
done. I can't do this anymore. You're very like, just kind of nonchalant about it. Like, okay, you know, I found out. I raged.
Yeah, no, it's so hard.
The next day is just like, okay, you go this way and I go that way.
Yeah, everybody, like I said, everybody has a threshold that they could tolerate. Like I said, do I believe people can change? Absolutely. At that point, I think, honestly, what my response would be like, go be by yourself, enjoy yourself, find yourself, and you figure out where it went wrong.
Right.
I'm at such a mature point in my life where I just like, I have no room. There's just like no room for any of that shit because we are in our 30s. Oh God, that sounds so.
Don't do that. I just got here. Stop it.
You did, right? You just turned 30. And I feel like I'm at such a different point. We went through all of that. Exactly. We've spent years heartbroken, crying.
Not doing that in my 30s.
Learning, growing. And not to say that we were never at fault because accepting accountability, I think, is something that we've both done. But once that has happened, it's like, I just don't have time. Like, you go find yourself. I'm always encouraging people like, yo, if you need to be alone, be by yourself. People are so afraid to be alone. I don't know why. It's society. You know, everything that we see on social media, everything that we see in movies, people feel like they have
how you grow up,
how you're brought up. People always feel like, oh my God, like I need to be in a relationship because if I'm not in a relationship, I'm not doing life right.
Oh no.
Like, stop. Be by yourself. Learn yourself. Love yourself. So many people don't love themselves. And that is like a pillar for everything in your life, whether, you know, my last podcast with Matt, the disconnect between men and women.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear that.
We cannot check it out on Apple. We can't even coexist if we don't love ourselves. If I don't love myself enough to be who I am and be confident within myself, how can I do anything in this world? How can I love somebody else if I'm not loving myself properly? How can I be a friend, a mother, a daughter, a sister, an aunt, an abuela, whatever I need to be? I can't do that if I'm not good within myself. Right. And I feel like we don't portray these days self-love enough. It's like we don't know what it looks like. We were not brought up in that.
I think that's probably one of the biggest things when you know it, you need to let it go. Is when you see that. And that's what we were just talking about, right? Like when you lose yourself, that's the biggest thing.
Yes, because that's going to happen.
Because you're not going to be able to love another person. You're not going to be able to, you know,
not properly, no,
be in a good relationship if you're not happy with yourself. And I think that's definitely something I've asked in my past relationship. That's definitely something I've stressed. Like, are you okay? Are you happy with yourself? Like, what's going on?
And that's so important.
And, you know?
That's so important. Just like mental health. It's like, yo, if you're not good, we're not good. If I'm not good, we're not good. Like, it's not... People, I think, underestimate the power of the mind.
Right.
We really, really underestimate how powerful. And if a lot of the people in this world knew how powerful their minds really were, we would live in a totally different world, I feel like. So, I mean, I don't know. You see how many factors go into, like...
I mean, they all kind of coexist with each other. That's why, like, you saying one thing, and I'm like, yep, and this goes back to this.
It's like a circle of life. And it's like we can break those cycles. We can. We just a lot of people don't know how. And I feel like by having conversation, like this is why I wanted to start a podcast. How long was I talking about start? And look, we're here. We made it.
Yes, I'm definitely proud of you. Congrats to you. I'm so happy that I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you for
beautiful
being here.
Fucking picture of you. I love it.
Dope. You guys just see this right here. That's me. You know. And I feel like it all starts with conversations. And I was saying to you, like, we have so many dope conversations. And with Jessica, can't wait to have Jess back on here. Well, not back. She hasn't been here yet. That's my other best friend, you guys. And we just all talk about so many amazing things. And I feel like our conversations can help people because there's so many other people out there like us who are afraid to express their emotions.
Right.
Afraid to have these conversations, not realizing how important that this shit is.
Right.
It's
definitely relatable. So, I mean, it's going to be amazing to see, like, this podcast, like, grow. And the different topics. And
yeah, because we're going to talk about everything. You see, you guys, it says the podcast where anything goes. Anything and everything goes here. So, yeah, you know, this is important to me. I feel like these conversations are important in general. And then that's why I wanted to talk about, you know, the topic, you know, when do you know how to let somebody go? Because people struggle with that and then they compromise themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's not okay.
Right.
You should not be compromising who you are as a person for anybody. And it's like, you know, but how do people know when enough is enough? And so, like I said, people have different thresholds. People have a different amount of how much they can take from a person. But I feel like what everybody needs to realize is, like, if it's affecting you, if it's stressing you.
Right.
Something that I wasn't going to talk about, but I'll talk about it very vaguely.
Yes.
You know, a family member of mine, one of my cousins who I love very, very much, I don't talk to her anymore. And I stopped talking to her because it was stressing me out. Like, she's going through something in her life that I tried to help to the best of my ability. And it was coming to a point where it was weighing on my heart and my conscience, and I just couldn't take it anymore because it's like, I have my own life. I can't keep worrying about you.
Right.
And what's going to happen to you. And that was very hard for me. That was very hard. So
yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely a tough topic to talk about because, you know, that's family. Like,
yes,
you don't want to cut family off, but sometimes, like you said, I mean, you have to, like, for your sanity, for, you know, your mental clarity. Like, if you're going out your way for this person and trying to help them more than they trying to help themselves, like, you know,
God. That's you touching on all the right stuff. If a freaking person is not, you know, if you're not doing for yourself, what are we talking about? And so that's another
codependency.
This is another part of the conversation is family. One is a time to clip family. I think that, oh God, my family's fucking jacked up. Like, no, seriously, like, my mom's side, fucking ridiculous. My dad's side, not as bad. They're very much more family oriented than my mom's side.
Okay.
But I feel like I was kind of brought up with the mentality is like, you always choose your family. Your family is all that you have. They are the most important things. So you got to stick it out. No, the fuck I don't. And I think that I was born. I didn't choose these people. I was born into this family. Not that I don't love you all. You know, you guys are my blood. But I feel like people tolerate more with family because they're family. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you have any personal experiences with, like, just dealing with shit that you probably would rather not deal with?
As far as when it comes to family, to a certain extent, actually I do. But it's kind of funny because, like, I don't know. Like, I definitely agree with what you're saying, but, like, the situations that I've dealt with, I've kind of had to, like, remove myself, not permanently, but for, I guess, certain moments in my life with, you know, like, my family members, because sometimes, like, you know, people go through things and they kind of, like you said, it kind of gets thrown on you. Like, being around that person kind of, like, just becomes very, like, I don't know, stressful, toxic. I don't want to use that word, but toxic.
Unhealthy. Let's use that word.
Exactly.
Unhealthy, yeah.
So, you know, I've definitely had to, like, remove myself from, you know, a person's space. Like, and unfortunately, it was family, you know. and it wasn't easy, but I think it kind of helped them see that what they were doing wasn't, like I wasn't going to accept it. I wasn't going to be
tolerate it, right?
Yeah, I wasn't going to be there to just be beat up on, or like, like talk to a certain way, or, so that was definitely something that I had to like just take myself out of, like just remove myself from that person's life in a way, like, because it was affecting me, like it was stressing me out. Yeah. Actually affected me, growing up as a teenager. Like I didn't have the best relationship with my sister, like she had a lot of things going on with her personal
life, yeah.
And it's crazy because, like as a teenager, I didn't realize it to a certain extent. Like I kind of like had a lot of resentment towards her. And, like I think us not living together helped a lot, helped me kind of realize like, you know what, maybe this is not like something that I understood.
Right.
But as an adult, I kind of got it. And I'm like, wow, this person was going through something that I didn't even realize.
Yeah, at that time.
And, like now I see that she's grown and like she's getting the help that she needs. And, like luckily, like we're able to have like a better relationship now.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely important. Like, sometimes you cut a person off, but it may not be forever.
Right.
Like maybe it's just a moment in time where it's just like you need to grow outside of, whatever this is going on, because
and then
it's
we can
just
revisit.
Unhealthy, So that's definitely important. And it's kind of like, didn't even realize, like, I thought this conversation was just going to be about mainly boyfriend, girlfriend.
No, because everything
got me thinking.
everything goes into everything. Like everything matters, So family, and I feel like family plays such a big part of who we are, because we all come from a family, and we don't realize how much of an impact they have and our upbringing has on us. And then that's where a lot of our shit comes from. Like that's where a lot of our like insecurities and issues come from. And I feel like when it comes to a point where you're in a situation where you kind of have to choose to let somebody go from your family, that's always hard. And I found myself questioning that at times. Like, am I wrong? Like, this person is my family. Should I not be doing this? Right. But I think what you said was perfect. Maybe it doesn't have to be permanent. Like I said, I know that people can change. So if that person can step aside themselves and just kind of work on them and figure out what's going on, and we can revisit later and then have a conversation about it. Why do people underestimate the power of conversation? I don't know why. And I feel like that stems from my upbringing. I was never brought up in an environment where it was like, talk to me about how you're feeling. I was always criticized. And it was hard for me, which is why I never spoke to my mom about anything. I feel like right now where we stand, we're in a much better place. But, I think that my mom was struggling with her own issues that I don't think that she's really dealt with. Right. And that shit poured over onto me and my brother. And I think that we all have a lot of piled up stuff in here that I'm working on my stuff. I can't speak for either of them. And I was really resentful at one point of my mom. And I stopped talking to her for a while. And I swore on everything that I loved that I was like, I'm never talking to her again. I don't want to know nothing. No. I got over it because it's like,
I mean, again, like you probably just needed that time. You needed to.
I did
take your space
because that was at the time with Josiah's dad.
Right.
So I went through a situation with my son's father that was really shitty, and I think that I was at a really bad place at that time. I went through so much, and I was very broken. I was like, I was in pieces.
Oh,
I was in pieces, but I'm fine now.
No, you've definitely come a long way
grown.
from
You've
that
seen
situation,
my progress,
so.
yeah. And it was hard, but that's why I said, like, you got to work on yourself first. You have to deal with your issues first. So it's okay to let people go because our mental health and our life and what we're doing, it matters. So I feel like people always feel bad when it comes to family because, like I said, we're always told, like, oh, that's your family. Like, love them and be there for them, and that's your family no matter what. Yeah, but they are also still people.
Sometimes loving a person is letting them go, even if it's like you said, even if it's momentarily. Like sometimes you just have to step away.
Yeah, that's better for everybody. Sometimes I'm afraid for people, like, to leave them because I don't know if they will know how. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I worry about people being able to get on their own feet and get right within themselves because they're struggling so much. But that is what worries me. Like, that's why it's like, oh my God, I gotta let you go because this is stressing me out. But then I'm like,
and you also gotta realize too that it goes back to that codependency shit that we talking about.
Listen.
Yeah, like you just gotta kind of realize that you're probably hurting the person more than you realize.
Yeah.
By keeping yourself in that situation. And you're like a crutch for them almost in a way.
Yes.
Like they rely on you. They they express their feelings to you. Whether it's a friendship or relationship as mother and daughter.
See, my concern is the people who don't know how to be without a crutch. There are people who just are not strong-minded enough,
right? I agree.
To push through that, and that scares me. Right. That scares me because I hate feeling responsible. Not even that I'm responsible, but I hate like knowing somebody because I'm such a compassionate and empathetic and loving person. And if I can help somebody, you're exactly like me. Like if I can help you, I will help you. If I can talk to you, I will talk to you. If you want to call me crying drunk, I'm going to listen to whatever you have to say.
Right.
But it's like, what are you doing for yourself? I can't always I can't. Like, I want you to be able to do that for yourself. So I do honestly worry about people who are mentally weak. I guess that's the word. That scares me.
But yeah, I mean, I think it just goes back to saying like, sometimes you just have to give that person that space. And that's also loving a person too. Letting them go is also loving that person. Like, you know what? I love you enough to be like, this is affecting me and my mental state. And I can't have this relationship with you, or if it's, like affecting you in a way that you don't want to be around that person.
Yeah.
I don't think it's wrong to like want to step away.
Right.
I think also you should have that conversation with that person and be like, you know what? Right now I can't be there for you. I can't support you like I think you should do this or like I can't say exactly what they should do, but I think conversation like you said is definitely a big factor and might help a person. Like I think honesty is important, like that might change a person's perspective on like their relationship with you. They might not even realize how codependent they are with you, you know? Like
that's so true. They may not realize how much they really depend on you, and it's like, oh shit, I'm about to lose a good person that
because
of my behavior. That's the ideal situation. I would love for that to be like what it is. And then I just also think it's really unfair if people to kind of project their shit onto you and be like, well, you're selfish.
Oh no.
That's a thing that people are
time to let it go.
People like to say that you're selfish when you let other people go, or if they're the person that's getting let go, like they're all the way mad. Be mad. Go find yourself. Like, be upset. And I hate that people say that, because is it really being selfish though?
No, I don't think so. Again, like I said, like sometimes that's the love they need. It's hard love, like
tough love.
Exactly. There you go.
That don't
sometimes
work
you have to
for everybody.
Nah, it don't. But if it works for you, then like you just have to cut it. Like can't always do what a person wants you to do.
No, that is not. No, that's not the world that we live in. So yeah, I just feel like, it's just.
I'm pretty sure there's other things we haven't touched based on. I'm trying to think, like, what else is a sign that you need to let a person go?
That if you're not happy, if you're upset, or I think what you said something earlier about with the significant other, I feel like just like for like friendships and relationships, honestly, if you really can't talk to a person, like if you're not saying how you really feel because of you think that they might react a certain way. That is unhealthy.
Major key.
Major key. Boom, mic drop. That's actually, I didn't realize how important that was until I was in a relationship where I felt like I couldn't really express how I felt because I thought that it would cause conflict. And then those feelings just built up and built up and built up until I couldn't take it anymore. And that was the end of my relationship. And it's like, I do relationships. I have like 4 or 5 year relationships. So I was with Jesse for like 4 years. I was with Leia's dad for like 5 years. My son's father I knew for like 14 years. And it's like, I feel like I found excuses always for somebody's behavior. And I was never able to be myself. If you cannot be yourself around the person, it's time to let it go.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
That's something that I have learned. Like, I can appreciate who I am, and I want to be myself. I don't ever want to put on a facade like, you know, everything is social media. People are broke buying Jordans and phones and cars to put on this facade for people who don't give a shit about you.
You know, I think we I think we kind of touched based on a little bit. And like you said, being yourself. We're only on our 30s, you know what I'm saying? We start growing.
Yes.
So I think that's a major, like, you know, a major thing too. Like, if you notice that you're like, your growth is stunt in a relationship, like you're not going anywhere. That's definitely key to be like,
cut it.
This is not working for me. Like, I'm still in the same place. We're not growing together. You're not motivating me. You know, I don't feel motivated on my own in this relationship. And I think a lot of times it's because you're just dealing with so much that you can't even focus on yourself. You can't focus on your own growth because, you know, maybe there's certain conversations y'all not having, or, you know, just too much going on. And that's definitely fucking probably one of the top things to say that needs to just
the top. Absolutely. That's why
just gotta let it go.
You know, people just need to be comfortable having conversations. People need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to step out of your comfort zone. Oh, let me put this closer. You have to step out of your comfort zone and just, you know, be true to yourself, be who you are. And I think what you said, you know, when we're in relationships, we're looking for what a person can do for us. Oh, I want to be with you because you can do this, this, and this. And I think that I don't agree with that. I feel like where we are, I'm good right now with who I am. And I want to add value to somebody else's life. I want us to motivate one another. I want us to become better people together. I don't think that nobody has everything figured out. And because we're going to grow every day for the rest of our lives until we are no longer breathing. We're going to grow, we're going to learn, right? And I'm probably not the best version of myself right now. I'm going to continue to be better. So do I feel like two people can be together and figure it out? Absolutely. As long as we're having those conversations, like, you know, and then if you need space, like, say that. Just say, like, listen, I'm going through something within myself right now that I'm not sure of. I just want to let you know in case I'm, like, not being myself. So it's just now that I'm 31 and I'm finally finding, like...
I definitely don't think I've had conversations like that.
No, we don't.
And it's good. No. Maybe when I was younger, like in my, you know, when I was a teenager, I feel like I probably had more intimate conversations in my relationship. And that's sad to say. That's fucking sad to say.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know. We don't know any... We just go through so many things. And I feel like people need to express... You know, not being able to express how you feel, you build a resentment towards a person. And I can speak to that. I built a resentment towards my past relationships because I wasn't able to even say how I felt because I feel like it would be a problem. And that's not fair to me. And it's not fair to the other person because I don't want to feel that way about you. You might not be a bad person, but it's like you can't express how you feel either. It's like, what are we doing? It's
wasting
time. And time waits on no one. But see, we learn. This is how we learn. So, like I was just going to say, I'm 31. And for the first time, I'm dating an individual that I can actually talk to. Like,
that's amazing.
I can tell them how I feel. We can have those conversations. Not always great, but we have the conversation so that way there's an understanding. And I said on my last episode, I over communicate. And if that's annoying, I don't care, because I don't want there to be any room for error, any room for miscommunication. I would hate for the reason that we stopped talking to be something stupid because you didn't say how you felt.
Right.
Or I didn't say how I felt, especially when you really care about a person.
Exactly.
So that's a major key. Like, you gotta talk about it. You gotta talk about everything. Right? That's what we have mouths for.
No. Whoa.
Well, yeah, my mind just went.
Different topic, different show.
I was just like,
different episode.
Shit, you know. We're gonna have some of those spicy episodes.
No,
too.
yes. Can I be a part of that?
Of course, those raunchy, nasty. we could talk about everything. Yeah. So, damn, that sounded wrong. So that's what what I meant.
No. Yeah.
So whatever. Like, we're here. I don't think we should ever feel bad.
It's a learning experience. You got to learn from it. I mean, that's all you can say.
That's the most important thing. The best teacher in life is experience. If you're not fucking learning from what you're experiencing in life, what are you doing? What? And
yeah, repeated behavior, especially if it's not good behavior, is not where it's at.
And I feel like we're so lucky to be where we at mentally. Whoa, be where we are at. That was so ghetto, y'all. That was ratchet as hell.
That was ratchet.
To be where we're at, because we have kids and we are learning what not to do with our children. Like, we went through what we went through. We've experienced what we've experienced. We've grown how we've grown, and we need to, pass that on to our kids. I don't ever want my children to feel like they can't talk to me. I don't ever want my children to feel like they have to be uncomfortable, or that shit is also very, very important.
Yeah, now that you say that, I mean, I think that's definitely another thing. Like, if that's affecting your kids, if your relationship is affecting your kids.
Oh my God, yes. If it's affecting the children.
That's major key. Definitely need to let it go.
Yeah, and I think that's just scary. Ooh,
you got to think of, you have to be like realistic with that, especially when it comes to kids, because their growth is way more important. And I feel
they're
like
smart as hell. Like, listen, we don't know. We underestimate.
I mean, you just
kids.
want better for them. Like we've been talking about this whole time. Like, what you go through in your life as a child, it carries with you.
Yes.
So imagine, like, you're going through this toxic relationship or this relationship that's just not good for you mentally, and you have this child
that's watching,
and they might not be understanding what's going on, but to a certain extent they internalize it.
Yes, they do.
So that's definitely something to be like, what, my son or my daughter comes first, and I'm not happy right now. I need to just separate myself or remove myself from this relationship, because I want better for my son. I want better for my child, and I want them to see what a real relationship is like, even if I don't know what it is myself right now.
I'm
at
figuring
the moment,
it out.
you know. So definitely important.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, because it's true.
You got me
thinking. Yeah, there's like so like everything coincides with one another, and that's something that I had to learn. My old, Alexandra, my oldest, she's seen me go through a lot, and I think that I'm gonna have a lot of work to do with her, because she's very emotional. My daughter cries for everything, guys.
Yeah.
Like, you tell her she can't watch TV, she's like, mommy, like, girl. I think like she came out the womb crying. Like, and she hasn't stopped crying. She hasn't stopped crying. That's my baby, though. So we have to be so conscious as parents what we are subjecting our children to. And I think one thing, I don't have a lot of people around my kids at all. Like, anybody that's been around my kids, like I said, they've been a part of my life for many, many years. And we just need to do better. Like, we need to break these cycles. We need to not have that repeated behavior.
Yes.
And we need to unlearn all of those things that were instilled in us that we just don't agree with. One thing that I've learned is, like, I don't like to tell people that they're wrong. People are different. We all have different
things differently.
Ideologies. We have different experiences, which lead to how we believe, like our beliefs. So I don't agree with a lot. There's a lot of shit that I just don't agree with, but I don't ever like to tell anybody that they're wrong. So I don't agree. I'm not going to say the way that I was brought up was wrong, because our parents were just trying to do what they were doing and get through,
Right.
even though it may have affected us and not in the best way. But look, like now we're grown, we're conscious.
Exactly. You gotta also take accountability for
Yes.
yourself too. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-mm-mm.
I don't think people realize
No.
that shit. Like, okay, yeah, I
They
went through
don't.
this trauma. I had a shitty fucking
It's like,
childhood.
so what do we tell,
but
like, how do we tell people, like, I don't think people know
how
to be accountable, how to hold themselves accountable. So I'm just like, you're talking and I'm thinking about it. If somebody was to come up to us and be like, how do I do that? I don't even know if I would
how to
know.
explain it.
I think that you got to find yourself. Like, you got to separate yourself.
Definitely.
You have to find yourself. Like, where are you going? What do you want? Like, what bothers you? What do you experience in life that triggers you to become emotional or become angry? A lot of that is our childhood. A lot of that is what we've seen. A lot of that is what we experience. And then it builds and builds. And then we have all this stuff with nowhere to put it.
Right.
And then we put it on other people, like you said. We end up just projecting that onto other people. And that's like we're losing from the start. It's like there's no possible outcome to and like a successful relationship, whether that be romantic, friendship, family. So I think accountability is important, but I think that people need to realize that accountability starts with you, how you feel about yourself.
Right.
What are you doing to better yourself? Knowing that you're a contributing factor in things that may not always be going right.
Yeah, or like you said, accountability. Knowing that something isn't good for you or good for, whoever you're dealing with.
Yes.
Like you don't want to be affecting someone and you're doing it nonchalant.
Right.
You're not even realizing that what you're doing is affecting a person.
Yo, there's so many people out there that are like that they have like a total disregard for like mentally abusive people, manipulative people. There's a lot of that. I don't like it.
Pathological liars.
Oh, those.
Accountability. Yes, we need accountability for those kind of people too. Like, you want to sit here and lie. Take accountability. Like,
no,
and
I
then
don't think
wonder why a person is the way they are
with you.
Like,
I think that's a major key because sometimes I'm like not a perfect person. Sometimes I need somebody to sit there and tell me like, yo, you're doing this.
Right.
Stop. Like, hold me accountable, but in a way that I can learn from it.
Right.
In a way that it's not like you're not like attacking me.
Right. Teachable. Like,
that's
you don't want to be.
It's a teachable moment.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people also just don't know how to do that. I feel like to answer any and every problem that a person may have, you really got to get right with yourself. You really have to have I have conversations with myself. I'm up all night thinking and talking to myself and thinking, why do you do this? Or why do you behave this way? Or why do you feel this way? Or like, what are you doing? Like, I just talk to myself, but I learned
that's definitely important though,
to love myself. And I learned that it's not about everybody else or how they make me feel. It's about how I make myself feel.
Exactly.
I'm a reflection of myself. Other people's thoughts about me, they don't matter to me because you're not me. And how you feel about me, that is your own personal perception. You're entitled to feel how you want to feel. But how you feel has no bearing on me. Like, what I own and what I wear doesn't define who I am. Like, I'm not out here for the gram trying to fucking post. Like, people are just so lost. And I feel like if you're lost, how can you accept accountability? How can you have conversations? How can you cut the toxicity out of your life? How do you know when it's time to let people go? Because they're stunning your growth.
Yes, exactly.
Or they're not leading you. I just feel like bottom line, like I said to you earlier, if you're not adding anything of value to my life, not material.
Comes full circle.
It comes full circle. I pour into you, you pour into me.
Yes.
Nothing of material. It's what are you doing for yourself? I don't want to be in a company of a person who doesn't know what they want for themselves. Like, you don't have to have it figured out.
Right.
But, like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, are you happy? What are you doing to better yourself? Is there anything that I can do to help you get there?
Right.
That's just not the type of time that people are on. People don't care about those things. So I feel like, you got to cut it out. Like, cancer,
get the scissors,
paper, whatever the hell, an umbilical cord.
Oh no.
Just cut it. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Anyway, so we have a few minutes left. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on, talk about? Doesn't have to be about this topic. Like a free for all, anything that you've learned personally. So let's talk about that actually. I think in closing, for your year, like
Right.
what did you learn about yourself in the new year? What are you looking to do differently?
Well, I definitely learned that I need to move forward, put myself 1st, and just be happy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hold any type of hate or grudges towards anyone.
That shit
Like,
is unhealthy.
cutting people off doesn't have to be malicious. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be, spiteful or like putting blame all towards one person. It's more about trying to get a person to understand that, like, this is not healthy for both of us. And, like, I want you to be happy.
Yes.
I want myself to be happy. I want to see you do well as an individual.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, you could cut a person off. That doesn't mean you don't care about them. That doesn't mean that you don't wish them well. That doesn't mean that, maybe you might have a relationship with them in the future. It might not be
Right.
what it was before, but letting that person go sometimes is what you both need. And
Right.
like, that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to in the future. It's just like learning more about myself and like
Right.
like you said, self-love,
Mm-hmm.
traveling. I'm like so excited for this new year. I want to like just experience, something outside of the city. Like just be myself.
Yes. Yeah. You gotta be the truest version of yourself. I feel like, your happiness comes from within.
Yes,
Happiness.
and like we were saying, I'm excited to be here. So thank you for having
Thank
me.
you for coming.
You
I'm
better
so
invite me
excited.
back again.
Yes, it's because
I
like I
wanna-
was saying on my last episode, it's gonna be a lot of the same
Okay.
people because we're just gonna be having these.
I would love
amazing
to like
conversations.
have Jess here, or
Yes,
even
she has
like
these two.
we
gotta-
should have Matt here one day if he would
All
like
of
to
us,
come
of
back. Yeah, like
course.
I would like to get like a male perspective on things. That
Yes,
would be
let me tell you,
amazing.
it's gonna get very spicy up in here.
Yes,
It's
that-
gonna get very exciting. I'm so happy. Like
But
I'm just so happy that we're doing this.
The conversation will be great.
It's always great. I don't think there's ever been like a dull moment with us. Like we be talking about real life shit. We be getting like emotional too.
Aw.
I was like tearing up earlier. I don't even know what I was talking about, but I was just like, I'm such a fucking baby. It's horrible. But no, thank you for coming. Like
Of
you
course,
witnessed.
I'm here to support you, girl.
Yeah,
Proud of
you
you.
witnessed started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Ew.
This was just like a conversation, and now like we're here.
I'm proud of you. You definitely like
We're doing
motivated me to like want to do my
thank you.
own shit in life and better myself, because this is definitely a stepping stone for you. So
Thank you.
It's
I
exciting.
appreciate it. All right, you guys. So I think that's it. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any feedback, definitely let me know. Shout out to my bestie for coming.
Thank you. Anytime, my
and-
love.
Yes, and that is a wrap, guys. Thank you.